Okay, I'll start off the review by saying that the build for Elimination Chamber 2020 was really bad. It really was. They had, 9 days after Super Showdown? So there was pretty much no build in sight. The show itself, I guess it was good. I mean, it wasn't great or anything. No, it just wasn't. But there was enough good stuff on the show. Granted, I had lots of flaws throughout with some of the booking decisions, but that's World Wrestling Entertainment. That's always going to happen. I didn't like the fact that the show went as long as it did. Like in the preview, I said that if this show is longer than 2.5 or 3 hours, I'll be kind of scratching my head. And this show went literally 3 hours and 45 minutes. It just went on and on. I mean, did it need to? I don't think it did. A bunch of these matches went 5 to 10 minutes too long. That's my main gripe with this. The booking, as I said, especially in Undertaker AJ Styles. AJ Styles versus Aleister Black. That match made no logical sense whatsoever. Why is it a no disqualification match with Gallows and Anderson at ringside, but those guys don't even help AJ Styles for 20 minutes, and then 20 minutes in, they just start beating up Aleister Black? That made absolutely zero sense. Really, it made no sense. So, the Aleister Black AJ Styles I enjoyed, but it wasn't incredible. It was a good match. I was entertained by it. I'm not going to rant about it or anything, but it was just whatever. And then, Bryan and Gerlach opened the show, and it was okay, good match. It went 14 minutes, which is what all the people on the internet wanted. But the match itself is just Bryan taking neck bumps for no reason, and me cringing. Because why is Daniel Bryan letting Drew Gerlach throw him on his neck? That one screenshot and that one moment of Bryan being thrown, across the ring for, a half Nelson suplex, and Bryan lands smack bang on his neck, that looked horrible. So, that opening match was fine. Andrade, Humberto, Carrillo, I didn't care. I'm sick of seeing it. The Smackdown Tag Team Title Chamber match had some cool moments. Otis running through the chamber, and the stuff where, didn't say Dorado or Grand Metalik, whichever one did the thing where they were hanging on the top of the chamber, and then they did the flippy-do fall off the top and then landed on everyone. That was cool. We saw Kalisto do it a few years ago, but, whatever. And then, the Raw Tag Team titles, I didn't really care. I really didn't. Rollins, Murphy against the Street Profits, we've seen that 4 times in 2 weeks. I didn't care. It went 10 minutes too long. It just kept going. The Intercontinental Championship, I didn't care either. The 3-on-1 thing was just a joke, and it was so predictable. And then the main event, I'll get to that later. Pretty much this show, I'm not going to go in anywhere near as much detail as I did about Elimination Chamber 2019 or Revolution for AEW or Royal Rumble 2020. This review is literally just going to be as if it's a Raw review, because I really didn't take notes in this show. I just kind of watched it, because this show didn't give... The build wasn't good enough to justify me taking in-depth notes about move by move. The matches didn't mean enough. They were just all building up mid-card crap. So, anyway, this show, for some reason, we felt... World Wrestling Entertainment felt the need to put the Viking Raiders versus Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder on the kickoff show. If you think I watched that, then you're sadly mistaken. I did not watch that. It went for 5 minutes and Viking Raiders won. Who cares? Moving on. So from here, we open the show with Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gerlach. It got announced on Smackdown, and I guess it's something different. Gerlach gets a pay-per-view match, but then again, the way they've used him since he came to SmackDown, doing the PowerPoint presentations, and it's just... you can't connect to Drew Gerlach. It's so hard to. You just know Vince McMahon doesn't care about him. So I found it hard to care. The match got 14 minutes. It wasn't a bad match. It was decent. It wasn't bad. People probably give this, I'd say, around 3 to 3.5 stars. If people are giving this 4 and above, then I don't know what you watched. The match itself was fine to good. It was serviceable. It didn't make me, someone who was going into the show not caring, all of a sudden be amped about the show. It was just a good match. But I need more than just a good match, because I know pretty much every performer on this roster, outside of a few, can put on a good match. I need more. I need a reason to care. I need something cool, something interesting, something exciting happening. And outside of Drew Gerlach literally throwing Bryan on his neck 3 times, which looked horrible, especially that one half Nelson release suplex, where Bryan landed smack bang on his neck. Besides that, oh my god, it was awful. But yeah, so this match went 14 minutes. In the end, Bryan rolled through a submission and then locked in the yes lock on Gerlach. And Bryan won by referee stoppage. So that was that match. It was whatever. It was a fine opener. It wasn't bad. It was watchable. The crowd was kind of dead. And that's another theme. The crowd in Philadelphia for this show was absolutely garbage. Especially during the Aleister Black AJ Styles match, the crowd was dead. During a bunch of the matches, they were dead. During the Smackdown Tag Title Chamber, the crowd was alright. But even the main event, the crowd just wasn't there for it. The crowd was making no noise. It was pretty dead. So, yeah, that was our opener. Bryan beats Gerlach, as you'd expect. Whatever. So, from here, we go backstage. The Miz and John Morrison. Wait, no, sorry. This was Ziggler and Rude. Yeah, Ziggler and Rude are interviewed. Pretty much Robert Roode does all the talking. Ziggler calls Mandy Rose his bae, and that was about it. So we got the Mustafa Ali, glitch thing. Whatever. From here, we move on to our second match of the night. As far as a match, it was alright. Andrade, Humberto, Carrillo, but I barely paid attention because we saw this match on the TLC kickoff in December. We saw this match at the Rumble kickoff in January. We've seen these guys interact every week for 4 months. I'm just overseeing it. I don't care. Humberto Carrillo, I thought if there was ever a time he'd win the championship, it was tonight, and he didn't. So, I guess he's never going to win a championship in this company. I thought after Andrade's suspension that they'd make Carrillo a transitional champion before Garza wins it at WrestleMania. Clearly, that's not the case. I saw, this is a little bit off topic and not to do with the match tonight, but I saw this thing Good Mic Work tweeted that said that, they could try a Latin American version of Evolution. So Andrade's Triple H, Garza is Ric Flair or Randy Orton or whatever, and Carrillo and Mysterio there, something like that, which I think would be cool. Actually, no, sorry. Mysterio would be Ric Flair, Andrade would be Triple H, and then Garza could be Orton, and then Carrillo could be Batista. That doesn't really work, but you get what I mean. They could do something like a Latin American stable. That would be cool. This match at the Chamber show, whatever. Nothing about this was must-see. If you missed this, you missed nothing. And Andrade just won with a roll-up, and they were doing some thing where they were calling them names they weren't or whatever, so whatever. That was the US title match. It was fine. It went 13 minutes. Did it need to? No, it really didn't. So that's what we got there. Moving on with the show, we get the SmackDown Tag Title Chamber match. This, it was what it was. We knew from SmackDown that Ziggler and Rude would come in last. In the end, we had Heavy Machinery come in 5th, so that was how they did that. Our first two teams, Usos and New Day. The match itself, it was good. There were some high spots in there. It was entertaining. Tucker doing that, senton somersault thing off the top of the pod onto a bunch of guys. That was cool. But I hate how the Chamber looks now. Why is there all that padding and crap on the floor? And why is there the big WWE logo at the top of the Chamber? That looks ridiculous. Compared to how it looked in 2002, I hate it now. It's the same thing they did with Hell in a Cell. In 97, 98, those Hell in a Cell structures they had were sick. Granted, they weren't very sturdy, but they were sick. Now the structures just look so... They look so just... they look so adjusted and... I don't know. I don't like it. So, the match itself was fine. It went 33 minutes in the end. I was thinking they'd have Miz and Morrison drop the titles to, Ziggler and Rude. And then Ziggler and Rude can drop them to Heavy Machinery at WrestleMania. And, Otis can kiss Mandy Rose and have a tag title, and it's this big moment. It's not what happened. Instead, Miz and Morrison just won. I was okay. Granted, if Miz and Morrison lost, then they would have had probably the worst tag title reign ever, winning a Super Showdown in a match no one cared about, then losing on SmackDown last week to the Usos, losing in the Gauntlet match this week on SmackDown, and then losing here if they lost, but that didn't happen. They ended up getting the win. Basically, we had Lucha House Party come in 3rd. They did a bunch of flippy moves. They sacrificed their bodies for it, which was crazy. So, that was what it was. Yeah. So, when you had Heavy Machinery come in 5th, Miz and Morrison, Ziggler and Rude came in 6th. So, we got some stuff with Otis and Ziggler. The only cool moment was when Otis charged at Ziggler. Ziggler was against the pod. Otis just runs through the pod. So, that was cool. I like that. But yeah, people got eliminated. It was whatever. The match itself was People are going to lie and say it was like a 4-star match. It wasn't. It was probably a 3.5. It wasn't that great a match. It was just fine. It wasn't that great. So, in the end, we have our tag team champions, Miz and Morrison, retain. Don't care. So, that was that match. From here, we moved on to Aleister Black versus AJ Styles. This one, I don't know how to feel about this because I wanted to really like it. There was the match that during the show I was most invested in, and I was actually watching more intently than any of the other matches. But with that being said, just the booking made no sense. It's no disqualification. Anderson and Gallows are standing at ringside. Why don't they just beat up Aleister Black mercilessly for 15 minutes and pin him? What sense does this make? It made no sense. So the match itself went ended up going 22 minutes, I think. The first 10 minutes was just slow paced, strikes, some submissions. Aleister Black's calf was being worked over by Styles. Black was getting some knee strikes in. It was fine. It was what it was. Then they got the table out. They used a kendo stick a bit. I mean, it was good. It wasn't a bad match. It made no sense. The booking made no sense whatsoever. So we're getting this match. It's rolling on. You just know that the Undertaker's getting involved somehow. And then eventually, after literally 20 minutes, finally the OC get involved. So Anderson and Gallows get into the ring. They're beating up Aleister Black. So that they hit him with the Magic Killer. And then they grab him again, set him up for the Phenomenal Forearm. And then the lights go out. And the gong hits. It's the Undertaker. So the Undertaker, he looked great here. He actually did, given his age. I mean, he's got the full hair dye thing going. He didn't look grey or anything. I like that thing he wears now, the singlet, which is really high up, so you don't see what his chest looks like anymore. So yeah, Undertaker actually looks pretty young. His look is good, so that's cool. Pretty much what we got here. You see the visual on screen. Pretty much Undertaker choking out Anderson and Gallows, and then from here, AJ Styles jumped at him. Undertaker literally chokeslams AJ Styles, which that got a good reaction. It was the best reaction of the night from the crowd. The crowd gave everyone nothing for most of the night, but yeah, so Undertaker chokeslams AJ Styles, lights go out, Undertaker goes back under the ring. From here, we see lights come back on, Aleister Black, he's crawling into the ring, hits a black mass on AJ Styles, 1, 2, 3, so Aleister Black beats AJ Styles. I'm happy he got the win. Aleister Black needed this win. Having AJ Styles win would have made no sense. And the no DQ stipulation made no sense either. This should have been singles, and they should have had Anderson Gallows barred from ringside or something. And then the ref could have been knocked down, Anderson Gallows come out, then they do this angle with the Undertaker. But instead, how they booked it made no sense. So that was that. From here, we moved on with the show. The Raw Tag Team titles. This went on way, way, way too long. This match, we've seen it literally 3 times in the past week and a half, and it went nearly 19 minutes. Why did this go 18 minutes 30 seconds? This could have gone 7 minutes. Okay, why did the Street Profits need to win the titles on Raw? Couldn't they have won the titles here? Wouldn't that Raw angle make more sense on this show? So we have something to talk about? This was just an 18-minute tag match. And it just dragged so much. And, the ending wasn't even that good. It was literally, Rollins is at ringside, and then we see Kevin Owens walk through the crowd eating popcorn. Owens sits on the announce table, gets a handful of popcorn, throws it at Seth Rollins, and then Dawkins bulldozes Rollins into the barricade. Murphy goes for, a flippy-do move. He gets caught by Dawkins and Ford. Then the match goes on for another minute. In the end, we get Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins retaining. So, I mean, fine. It was predictable. They won the title 6 days ago. They weren't going to give it back to Rollins and Murphy. AOP and Viking Raiders had a brawl during this match, and, I mean, that was really it. So that was what we got with the Raw Tag Team titles. That went way too long. No reason that should have gone as long as it did. Then we got the Intercontinental Championship thing. This, going in, I was like, this makes no sense. A 3-on-1 handicap match, not going to have the 3 men become champion. Well, they erased that. They said, they did an interview beforehand in Gorilla, and Sami Zayn, after 3 minutes, pretty much said that, when they win, he'll be the one who'll be champion. He'll represent them. That's basically what he said, and Cesaro and Nakamura just nodded, and they were fine with it. So we got the 3-on-1 handicap match. Braun Strowman just literally gets beaten up, and they're cheating. The heels are just using all the tactics they can. So yeah, they beat Braun Strowman. The three beat the 1, and it actually kind of made sense because Sami Zayn was the one who was given the title, even though the 3 of them won. It was a little bit weird, but I didn't really care. I just expected Strowman to win. The fact that Sami Zayn did, cool, good for him. Sami Zayn's holding his first title since the NXT Championship, which he won at our Revolution back in 2014 from Neville. So Zayn's got a title again. It's been over 5 years, which is, cool for Zayn. He's won about 1 match in the past year, so that really doesn't make him look good. It just doesn't make sense. Sami Zayn's won literally 1 match in a year, and now he's Intercontinental Champion. Granted, I prefer Sami Zayn's Intercontinental Champion to Braun Strowman, but this made no sense. This heel stable has been beaten down and lost every match for 3 months, and now Strowman's beating them. Losing them? What? That makes no sense. He has Zayn's the Intercontinental Champion. Pretty surprising, pretty dumb. Doesn't make much sense, but is what it is. So that was that. From here, we move on to our main event, the Elimination Chamber match to determine who faces Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania 36. Shayna Baszler, Asuka, Ruby Riott, Sarah Logan, Liv Morgan, and Natalya. Earlier in the night, Natalya did this interview talking about how she's fighting for the legacy of her family or something. Basically, the same thing she did for SummerSlam when she fought Becky Lynch then. She's just bringing that back out again. Is that all I got for Natalya? That her dad died and now she's fighting for her family's legacy? Can I think of anything else with her? So, that was that. This match, the match started 3 hours and 20 minutes into the main show. Was there any reason it had to start that late? Why did the Raw tag match go for nearly 20 minutes? Why did the no DQ match between Aleister Black and AJ Styles go 23 minutes? Why did the opening match with Bryan and Gerlach go 15? Why did Andrade and Humberto get 12? This show could have been literally 45 minutes shorter. Anyway, this main event match, it was fine. It was... I could draw this out for a couple of minutes and do a big review of it, but I'm not going to waste your guys' time. Literally, Shayna eliminated everyone in the match and won. So we're getting Shayna Becky at Mania as we expected. That's literally what the main event was. There were no surprises. They didn't do a Nia Jax replacing someone and winning the match. There was no shocks, no swerves. It was just 40 minutes of the entrances, the Riott squad fighting without Liv Morgan. So Sarah Logan and Ruby Riott fighting, and then Shayna Baszler just eliminated everyone. The thing with Asuka, I was like, Shayna's going to beat Asuka, but how quickly are they going to do it? Those two women got 2 minutes, and that was the end of the match. Shayna just won with the Kirifuda. So, that was that. And the show just ended. No Ronda Rousey, no nothing. Predictable, whatever. So, that was Elimination Chamber 2020. All in all, overall, what would I give this show? C, D, anywhere between there, a D+, that kind of thing. Some of the matches were good, I guess. The matches weren't horrible, but it went for nearly 4 hours and pretty much nothing eventful or of note happened. So, whatever, that's the review. Comment, sub. Nothing to see here. See ya.